What's up guys, my name is Delio and welcome to the first episode of A Look Back at Zombies, a retrospective series where I go through each and every zombies map and I take a look back at them. Today we are talking about Nacht Der Untoten. This has been a long awaited video and I'm sorry that this has taken me so long, but I decided, hey, why not? Let's just get this done, quit procrastinating, quit overthinking things. This isn't that hard. Just make a video talking about Nacht Der Untoten, bro. That's literally all you gotta do. Anyway, with all that rambling out of the way, let's jump into how Nacht Der Untoten actually came to be. So a small group of developers during the development cycle of World at War decided to start messing around with a few co-op elements. Since World at War for the first time in the Call of Duty franchise introduced a co-op campaign element where you can play with your friends or even play against your friends with competitive settings to see how much score you can get. So since this was such a big feature in World at War, Treyarch decided, hey, let's capitalize on this and let's start messing around with some other co-op game modes. And one of these game modes was actually a Call of Duty Zombies mode. And you're probably wondering how that became a thing. Well, there's actually some interesting history behind that. In fact, it all came from a burning German soldier animation. One of the developers were like, hey, this kind of looks like a zombie from a George Romero movie. So they kind of took that and kind of just went with it and started putting together this zombies mode. They took a little section from a campaign mission, in this case, Hard Landing, and basically just made a whole zombies map out of it. Gave it a dark and eerie atmosphere and build up all the mechanics, and that's the Nacht Der Untoten we see today. And that's why in the code name, Nacht Der Untoten is literally called ZM_prototype, because that was the map that was being created. And a little fun fact, most of the sound effects that you hear in zombies are essentially reused assets. In fact, the laugh that you hear when you start up a game of Nacht is a ambush stinger from the campaign. Take a listen. I always notice little details like that whenever Treyarch does this, so that's pretty neat. Now let's actually talk about the story of Nacht Der Untoten, because initially Nacht Der Untoten didn't necessarily have a story. It was kind of added on after Treyarch started developing its Ether story, and eventually they did add one, so let's jump straight into it. Nacht Der Untoten takes place on June 4th, 1945. Where an Allied plane fell from the sky for unknown reasons and actually hit a German truck that was transporting the undead as well as Element 115 between Group 935 facilities. This essentially caused an outbreak in that area. Only 4 Marine soldiers survived, and they found a nearby bunker where they would find weapons, a random box, a sniper cabinet, and all this mysterious writing along the walls. And in the end, they were presumed to be dead, fighting off the endless waves of the undead. It's not super complex because, of course, this was made after the fact. Like I said, Nacht Der Untoten didn't necessarily have a story because this map was a prototype map. It kind of was just a fun little bonus mode that they were just gonna, leave be until people actually got traction of it and they really liked it. So yeah, it's pretty nice honestly how Treyarch kind of meshed everything together to make sense. And let's move to a really interesting category, and that's atmosphere, because Nacht Der Untoten's atmosphere has yet to be emulated once again, even in the newer games. It has this very dark and eerie and somber feeling to it, how it's in the middle of the night, the moon is absolutely massive, and there's fog all around the area, while at the same time creepy sounds are playing as well. And on top of that, the zombies are coming slowly through the fog as well. So it kind of just creates this sense of loneliness, this sense of desperation that hasn't ever been emulated ever again. Even though Mob of the Dead kind of tried to emulate this, it doesn't have the same feeling. It's a completely different feel. I don't necessarily know how to describe it, but Nacht Der Untoten's atmosphere is something that absolutely makes this map. And I wish more maps were like it. And I guess you could say Verrückt would be more scary, but this map just has extremely special atmosphere. And now let's go on to the main meat and potatoes of this video, and that is gameplay. Because Nacht Der Untoten essentially introduced zombies. It's the first ever map, it was the first ever map to experience this gameplay, so it was extremely innovative for the time. It introduced the barriers that you could rebuild and the zombies can come through it. It also introduced wall weapons, You just go up to the wall, buy the weapon, and you're guaranteed a decent weapon for the price, without actually taking a chance at something I'm going to talk about in a couple seconds. It introduced power-ups as well, including our 4 classic power-ups: the nuke, double points, max ammo, and insta-kill. We'd see these power-ups through the entirety of the series. That's how influential this map is. And it also introduced another mechanic that we would see throughout the series as well: the mystery box. For a measly 950 points, you have a chance to get some of the worst weapons or some of the best weapons, like the ray gun or the flamethrower. The ray gun being the best weapon on that map because it does a ton of damage, while at the cost of doing a lot of splash damage. However, it's not necessarily the best weapon. The best weapon is the flamethrower. Since it essentially has infinite ammo, you're able to just spray the zombies down, wait a few seconds, let it cool down, and just continuously do that. They actually use this strategy to get to high rounds on this map, and we're actually going to get to that in a little bit. But yeah, the mystery box was an extremely innovative mechanic that we still see to this day, and that's why Nacht Der Untoten is just so influential. Some other cool gameplay mechanics this map actually has that newer maps don't actually have is, well, the sniper's cabinet. The sniper's cabinet essentially gives you a scoped Kar 98K, which for some reason does more damage than the traditional Kar, but it's zombies. Let's not think too far into it. You got freaking ray guns, dude. The map also had barrels where you can essentially shoot them and they blow up. And on the Black Ops 1 version of this map, if you blow up all the barrels, you're able to play the Easter egg song, Undone by Kevin Sherwood. In my personal opinion, it's one of the most underrated Easter egg songs of all time, so yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of it. And the second to last thing I want to talk about in terms of gameplay is strategies, because Nacht Der Untoten is known for at least 3 or 4 different strategies on this map. So when you spawn in, you have 2 choices. You could either go through the help door, or you can go upstairs and clear the debris. The way you want to go depends on what strategy you want to do. Say if you want to camp up on that little catwalk area where the grenades are, you're going to have to go through the help door and find your way through there. Because if you open up the debris on the staircase, zombies will go through that direction as well as coming from your forward direction. So what people would usually do is leave the debris just sitting there and just let the zombies funnel in from the front. However, that isn't 100% foolproof because there is a zombie barrier right to the side. It kind of just helps a little bit. But if you're going to do a camping strategy, I'd recommend that you leave that debris closed. However, on the contrary, if you want to train, you would want to go through the debris. So you want to go up the stairs and go all the way around to the help room. So in that case, you could either train inside the help room or train in the spawn. In my personal opinion, I'd like to train in the spawn because with Nacht Der Untoten zombies, they have a little bit of a delay, so they don't necessarily hit you instantly. So if I were you and you want to train on this map, either train in the spawn room or train in the mystery box room. So yeah, there are a few different strategies on this map, and they all serve their purpose in the gameplay loop. And the one last thing I want to talk about in terms of gameplay has to do with Easter eggs, because depending on which version of the game you actually play, there are a couple different Easter eggs. On World at War through Black Ops 3, there is a radio Easter egg, where you can essentially go up to a radio and knife the radio, and it plays different songs from the World at War soundtrack. So if you guys want to jam out to some World at War songs, just knife the radio and you can hear it from over there. However, its range is not super far, so you have to be kind of close to the radio in order to hear it, but it's a cool Easter egg nonetheless. Another Easter egg, like I said earlier, is if you shoot all the barrels, you can play the Easter egg song Undone. Great song. And on the Black Ops 3 version, on each and every Zombies Chronicles map, you're able to get a little Samantha Max's doll where you have to find it around the map, and it'll give you free max ammo as well as play Samantha's Lullaby from Moon. It's a pretty simple Easter egg, but it's nice to have in the game. So yeah, that's it for the gameplay. Nacht Der Untoten is super basic, but is the fundamental frame of what zombies is today. And the last category I want to talk about in this particular video is, does it still hold up in 2021? In my personal opinion, it depends on the type of player you are. Say you're feeling nostalgic and you want to experience a classic old school zombies feel, and you want to just chill out and just not have to worry about anything. Nacht Der Untoten is a pretty decent map for you. However, at the same time, there are better options. And the reason why I say that is how bare bones Nacht Der Untoten actually is in comparison to the newer maps. You see, Nacht doesn't even have perks or a pack-a-punch machine. Unless you're playing Black Ops 3 and you're messing around with gobblegums, that doesn't count. Let's be straight up, it doesn't count. So in general, things are just kind of bland. It's fun if you play it a couple times maybe, but if you play it over and over again, it gets really stale fast. However, is it a bad map per se? No. Not at all. So if you guys really like a simplistic zombies experience, you'll like Nacht Der Untoten. So overall, how would I rate Nacht Der Untoten? Well, I don't want to be too harsh since it's essentially the first zombies map ever made. So I'd probably give it maybe a 6.5 to maybe max 7 out of 10. And that's simply due to the fact that it's the framework of what zombies is today. And it was featured in like 5 or so games. World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, and then Black Ops Cold War SD Machine. This map is a fundamental base of zombies today, and it will be forever known as that. So I kind of want to interject here with my face cam to kind of just have a little talk to you guys about this video because this has taken me way too long. And I'm sorry that it took me so long, guys, but things happen. I've been really thinking about doing like video essays or maybe even retrospectives of the zombie maps, doing what Pat did, but giving my personal take on all that. So what's my plan with the rest of this series? What do I plan on doing? How do I plan on changing the way I do things? Well, honestly, I'm thinking of putting less emphasis on perfection, because this has really negatively affected this whole process of making this video. Because believe it or not, like, I have a ton of different takes of this video, and that's why it took me so long to actually get this done, because I constantly was like, oh, this is a good take. I record one time, and then I instantly delete it. And I kept doing that over and over and over again, and on top of that, I have to consistently upload to YouTube because, you know, if you don't upload for a while, it can kind of push you out the YouTube algorithm. You know, it's kind of just an unfortunate state of affairs. You know, you can't just let your channel stay dormant for a while. You have to at least upload once a week. So this whole thing has been kind of a clusterfuck. I'm gonna be straight up. That's the only word I can really use to describe this whole thing. So in the future, I plan on doing things differently. Being less critical of myself, because at the end of the day, that's my main issue. I'm super critical of myself if I don't do things a certain way. And I was like, at this point, stop being so critical with yourself. Just get this video out. Doesn't matter what take you have. If it's decent, upload it. That's kind of how I felt about it at that point. So things had to change. I had to focus on things differently. And finally, I understand that, you know, things don't have to be perfect, man. Things can have some flaws. Things can have, you know, some rambling in there. You know, one thing I will do in the future, though, is lay things out better. I'll have specific categories with points written down, all that, and not just a bunch of random nonsense. That's a little bit of constructive criticism I can give myself. So, yeah. And I also want to thank you guys for sticking around and patiently waiting for this video to come out. And I'm sorry it took me so long, like I said, and hopefully the next video's out quicker. I'm not giving any ifs, ands, or buts, and who knows if it's even going to come out, because it's one of those things where it's like, I have so many other videos to make and come up with. So we're just gonna have to see, man. I gotta try to choose my battles here, because YouTube 2021, dude. It's just the way things work. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did and you want to see some more videos on the channel, make sure to drop a like. I'm currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and if you guys want to help out, hit the subscribe button, turn notifications, and never miss a video when I upload it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.